morning, friends. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate you being in my life. Happy New Year. Wow, lots going on. And because a lot is going on, my partner and I, Shelley, had a conversation the other day, and we were talking about simplicity. And I wanted to bring in a practice today that focused on the simplicity of movement, simplicity of posture, but also the benefits of simplicity. Sometimes we can just really run ourselves ragged. We complicate our lives in many different ways. We can have too many things going on and be juggling too many balls in the air at the same time. And because of that, we can be driving ourselves literally crazy as a result. And so in practice, it's simplifying things a little bit more. I've had the chance to practice yoga for many years now, and I've gone and seen many wonderful teachers, and I've been grateful for all of that. But some of the practices I've always appreciated the most were the simplest of practices. You can have a very difficult and challenging class while having just a few postures. In fact, sometimes it's the basics of simplicity that lay the foundation of the practice in general. So for today's practice, first starting off with about a 15-minute meditation and then getting into a physical practice that includes a lot of basic postures. And I know for some, especially because yoga can sometimes be a bit of a peacocking practice, especially when there's ego involved in it. All's good. I don't necessarily think any of it's bad, but sometimes overcomplicating it can lead to injury. And I say that from personal experience because I have injured myself in the practice because I tried to complicate things too much. And because of that, a teaching came out of it that helped me to pull back a little bit, practice a little bit of restraint, and when I teach, wearing a teaching hat, teach from more of a place of simplicity rather than overcomplicating things. Because when we overcomplicate things, that just makes things more difficult for everybody in the sense. I'm not saying there's not beauty to complicated things, because I certainly feel that as well. But in the practice of yoga, in the connection to one's own union, soul, spirit, divinity, so to speak, I do feel that simplicity is a milestone in a practice that we can all gravitate towards. And sharing some quotes by Yogananda, Yogananda said, "Modern life is becoming very unsatisfactory. It does not give you happiness. There are too many things, too many desires, more nice cars and dresses and entertainments, and more worries. Free yourself from these so-called necessities and spend more time with God. Make your life simple. Be happy in and by yourself." He said the pleasure of modern man and woman is in getting more and more, and what happens to anyone else doesn't matter. But isn't it better to live simply, without so many luxuries and with fewer worries? There is no pleasure in driving yourself until you cannot enjoy what you have. The time will come when mankind will begin to get away from the consciousness of needing so many material things. More security and peace will be found in the simple life. Simplified life to reduce stress and financial worries. He said a complex material life is only pleasing to the eyes and status consciousness of the ego. But few realize what price materials comforts. Economic slavery, nervousness, business worries, unfair competition, dissensions, lack of freedom, disease, misery, old age, and death are the harvest of a materially compacted existence. So much is missed when there is no time left for the appreciation of beauty, nature, and God's many expressions in life. Alan Watts said, in Zen, poverty is voluntary and considered not really as poverty so much as simplicity, freedom, and unclutteredness. Luce said, manifest plainness, embrace simplicity, reduce selfishness, have few desires. Now I realize for those that may be hearing this for the first time, that can almost seem like a slap in the face because, we work so hard for the things that we have, and I totally respect that and understand that, and I'm certainly not here to say take that away. I'm saying appreciate what you have first. For instance, take time and look around the room that you're in right now, the things that you've collected over time in your lifetime. How special are these things that we have? Are we collecting things just to fill the room because we don't want to experience the emptiness of the room? Or are we collecting things because of the beauty that those provided to us in our lifetime? Shelley and I had a long talk about this because a lot of the walls in our house are empty, and it's okay that they're empty. We'd rather simplify rather than all of a sudden go out and just fill walls with all sorts of things that don't really mean a whole lot to us. And that's where that consumerism of need. It's totally okay to have a blank wall. It's totally okay to have blank space. But in our heads, in the consumer mind, unfortunately, or fortunately, we feel like we have to make every space that looks empty full, when simplicity actually brings a sense of grandeur-ness as well at times. So with that said, let's get into our practice. I hope what I said made sense and is helpful. I have the quotes up on the comment section if you'd like to go back, and I have a few more quotes that I'll share in our practice today. Let's begin with our meditation. Place the hands on the lap, left hand on top of the right hand. Drop the shoulders down the back, spread through the collarbones, and close the eyes. Simplicity. Begin to let go of your day. Let go of last night's sleep. Simplify. Let go of what's next and what's to come. Simplify. There's no need to worry about what is not here right now. Begin to experience the breath, the inhales and exhales. Simplify. As we focus on the breath, let that focus be effortless. If we find that we're concentrating really hard, recognize that your body is breathing all on its own. Concentrate or not concentrate, it's happening. So be as effortless as possible in the witnessing of the breath happening. Simplicity. Observe the depth of the breath, pace of the breath, balance in the breath. And let's begin to breathe together. Please breathe in through the nose, fill your lungs up. Out the mouth, exhale, release. In through the nose, we inhale. Out the mouth, we exhale. In through the nose, we inhale. Out the mouth, we exhale. Inhale, simplicity. Exhale, simplicity. Inhale, simplicity. Exhale, simplicity. Inhale, simplicity. Exhale, simplicity. And inhale, simplicity. Exhale, simplicity. Continue breathing on your own. As you breathe on your own, take a moment and check in with your body. From your head to your toes. Observe any stress, tension, soreness, tightness, imbalances. Remember, simplify. No need to add any extra story about where the tension came from, why the pain is showing up, why the imbalance is there. By repeating a story over and over and over and over again, we can sometimes complicate things rather than leaving the story in the past. Simplify this moment by letting go of the story. You will still exist in being in the simplification process without that story. The less words, the better in this moment. Once you're done scanning through your body, please take a long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Allow yourself to sit still or lay still. Simplify. If a sensation comes up, allow it to come up, acknowledge it, accept it, remain motionless. Simplify. The more we can simplify, the more we can self-study. Look within. Honest question. Is there a persona within that likes to complicate things? If so, does it have a face? Just observe. The one within the persona that overcomplicates can create suffering when not aware of. Simplify. When we look within, is there one that self-sabotages our experience of life by overcomplicating it, by making it more difficult than it needs to be? Is there a running narrative that life has to be a struggle and difficult and challenging? Simplify. Feed less the internal voice of the mind. Feed more the eternal voice of the heart. Within silence, through the simplification process, wordless truth reveals itself. To experience this truth, simplicity is required. For a busy mind is always challenged with silence. Simplification and paring down leads us to untold truths within. Simplification is a surrendering to what is no longer needed. Simplicity is a strength. please take a long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And as we move from our meditation, slowly start to move your fingers. Simply move them. Lightly. Start to circle out your wrists. Circle them in the opposite direction. Place the hands on the knees. Ever so gently switch the crossing of your legs. Other shin on top. With the other shin on top, hands on knees, palms face down. Slowly begin to circle your head out. Slow, deep breath in. Slow, deep breaths out. How simple can we make our life today? Because the truth is, life has an innate beauty already to it. We overcomplicate it due to many times other people's opinions about what beauty is supposed to be or look like, or how we're supposed to appreciate it. We take on others' personas sometimes, as opposed to connecting to our own authentic being. Roll the shoulders out as you circle the head. As such, we add an extra layer on top of us with these extraneous personas that we take on that aren't ours. All the while we forget to acknowledge our own divine presence and being. Start to circle your spine out. Simplify. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dive down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, diving down. For those of us that suffer from stress, in the stories of our stress, it's important and of value to take an inventory, to really check where are we putting all of our vital energies and resources. Are we putting it towards our relationships, our work? Are we putting it towards our children? Are we putting it towards more subtle things like maintaining an image? Are we putting it towards things like how we want to be perceived? Because that takes up a lot of energy. And we can feel fried and tired and exhausted because of it. Inhale, lift chest up. Exhale, circle the head in the opposite direction. Simplify. What can we put down? Maybe it's not overdoing it so much. What are some common needs that we have that we constantly are stressed out about, or wants that we have more than needs? Are we comparing ourselves to others? Simplify. You don't need to do that. I promise you, you don't. Roll the shoulders out. And whoever is telling us that we need to does not have your best interest in mind, I feel. Because best interest is more than consumption and consumerism. I know that. Circle your spine out. And I share this because for a long time, I did care about what other people thought of me, how other people viewed me, other people's opinions of me. And it made me feel exhausted and tired. I didn't feel like I could fully be myself. It was all about being accepted by others. And so I had to change personas and attitudes like a chameleon in order to do that. And there's just so much energy that gets wasted in that rather than just connecting to your own authentic self and recognizing you, yes, you are lovable, kind, and amazing just as you are. And we don't hear that message enough, I feel. The message that we hear oftentimes is if you have this, you'll be better. If you buy this, you'll be something else than what you are. When all we're really doing is just adding an extra layer. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm just saying, recognize when we are doing that and moving away from that authentic self. On the inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, let it go. On an inhale, please reach your arms upwards towards the sky. As we reach our arms upwards towards the sky, we're going to hold here in the demonstration of simplification. As we hold this pose, it may seem very unchallenging at first. In fact, we may say, this isn't yoga. This is just me holding my arms up in the air. Well, let's hold our arms up in the air for a while and see where the yoga really is in this. Extend your arms upwards. Open the hands wide. Wrap your triceps forward. Hollow out the armpits. Now start to find a lift in your navel. Engaging the core muscles ever so slightly, pull the navel inwards and upwards. Feel an elongation through your spine as you reach your fingertips a little more towards the ceiling of the room that you are in. Relax the forehead. Simple pose. Observe the sensations that are coming up. Are the shoulders feeling fatigued? Is the mind getting irritated? Is there a desire starting to come where we want to move our arms from this position? Simplification, remember, yoga practice, and when we practice asana, the physical practice has two qualities, sthiram and sukham, steadiness and pleasant ease. Let go of ego, because the ego complicates things. Remember, if you want to put your arms down, you can. Remember, when we practice ahimsa, nonviolence. If it's starting to hurt or become too uncomfortable to hold, you can always take your arms down. Simplicity. Simplicity, there are challenges and strength in it. Continue to hold. Focus on your breath. Long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Deep breath in. Exhale. exhale, let it go. Union of mind, observe the thoughts. Union of body, observe the physical sensations and experiences that are showing up in this moment. Union of spirit, the breath. Take one more deep breath in, touch the palms. Exhale, float the arms down along the sides. Roll the shoulders out. Simple pose that created a lot of different things inside of the body. All right, let's come on to our hands and knees. Tabletop position. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, hands open wide, root down to the palms and fingertips. On an inhale, pull the heart forward, look forward, cow pose. Exhale, chin to the chest, round the spine, tuck the tailbone, cat pose. Inhale, pull the heart forward, look forward, cow pose. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone, cat pose. Inhale, cow pose, heart pulls forward. Exhale, cat pose, round the spine, tuck the tailbone. Inhale, cow pose, heart pulls forward. Exhale, cat pose, round the spine, tuck the tailbone. Now on the inhale, pull the heart forward, look forward, cow pose, pause here. So lift your chest and chin, lift your tailbone, tuck your toes. As you tuck your toes, press down through your palms, spread through your collarbones, lift your chest up a little bit more, and try to lift your tailbone upwards towards the ceiling. You may begin to feel a stretch through the abdominal wall. We'll hold here. Breathe into this shape. Notice when you want to come out of it. Simple shape. Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. Simplify. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone, shin to the chest. Now, as you round your upper back, create space by tucking your tailbone as much as you can. Press the ground away, separate the shoulder blades, arch your spine just a little bit more. Leo Tolstoy said, there is no greatness where there is not simplicity, goodness, and truth. Full breath in. Exhale, neutral spine. Pressing down to the palms, tuck the toes, lift the knees, take your hips up and back into a downward facing dog. Pedal the feet out, bend the knees, walk your dog out. Wag your hips side to side. Nod the head yes, nod the head no. And then separate the hands about shoulders distance apart. Separate your feet about hips distance apart. Turn the heels slightly outwards. Now we're going to hold this pose for a little bit, so let's work with it. If you need to drop down to your knees at any point in time, drop down to your knees. Simplify. Press through the palms and fingertips. Firm the elbows in, wrap the biceps forward, wrap the triceps back. Press out of the shoulders. Let the head hang.
Soften the facial expressions, the forehead, the eyes, the lips, the mouth, and the jaw. And then as you lengthen through your legs and straighten through your legs, pressing the heels to the ground, feel the stretch in the back of the calves, the hamstrings, the chest of the thighs. Keep pressing out of your shoulders. Notice if you're sinking back into them. Downward facing dog, or Adho Mukha Svanasana, is one of the more basic postures in a yoga class, but when we hold it and really work on the engagements of it, it can become a very challenging pose. Keep pressing the ground away. Notice subtle urges to want to move, adjust. Know that it's okay to do so, but just observe and acknowledge it that first. I recognize that we don't like to be uncomfortable. And so one of the purposes of this practice is to dive into some of that discomfort that comes up as we hold postures. Can we simplify the way we think about it? Can we simplify how we think about practicing in general? Deep breath in. Exhale. Quality over quantity. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. It's amazing how a posture so simple can become complicated in time and difficult and challenging. Take one more long, slow, deep breath in. And on the exhale, slowly walk the hands back to meet the feet, coming into a forward fold. Clasp opposite elbow, opposite hands, and sway side to side, back and forth. And forward folds are oftentimes considered simple postures in a yoga practice, but we can engage them in a way where they're actually quite challenging. And we're going to do that today. We're going to face some of the tension that is in our bodies by holding this next posture a little bit longer than normal. Release your fingertips down towards the ground. Put a gentle bend in the knees, and then bring your feet together. As you bring your feet together, let the head hang. Press down through the soles of your feet. As you press down through the soles of the feet, let the top of the head remain heavy. Straighten through your legs. Stay active in the straightening of the legs. Feel your lower back releasing. Be light on the hands. Support less weight with the hands so that the weight is translating more into the hamstrings and calves. Simplify. If you want to take your hands to your ankles, that's fine. Keep folding in. Notice any urges to want to come out of the pose. Notice any urges to adjust because something may start to feel a little uncomfortable. Breathe through it. Long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale. Long, long, slow, deep breath in. Keep straightening the legs. Stay active in the legs. Exhale. Don't force it. Steadiness and ease. Simplicity. Inhale. Exhale. Couple more. Deep breath in. Exhale. And deep breath in. Exhale. Put a gentle bend in your knees. Take your hands to your hips. On an inhale, long spine, press to stand, straighten to the legs, come all the way up. Then pause here. Stand tall, release the arms down along the sides. You may feel a little lightheaded. Just observe that lightheadedness. Keep your feet remaining on the ground. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. We learn to self-regulate. Simplicity. Inhale. And exhale, let it go. Take the hands to the hips and take a giant step forward, right foot forward, left heel is back. Press your left heel back and bend into your right knee. Right hip in, left hip forward, lift the chest, and then tilt the pelvis underneath you a little bit. Keep the spine long, reach your arms upwards towards the sky, crescent lunge. Another basic pose in the yoga practice, but when held long enough, it is a very challenging pose. Bend into your right knee a little more. Observe your breath. Is the breath erratic? Simplify it by making it less erratic. Slow it down. If words like I can't are showing up for some reason, just observe that that is the talk track of the mind in this moment. But indeed, you can by taking a long, slow, deep breath in. And a long, slow exhale out. Reach the arms. Bend into your right knee a little more. Left heel presses back a little more. Gazes forward out in front of us. Let's engage the body a little bit more. Press the right foot down through the mat. Try to scissor your left thigh forward as you press your left heel back at the same time. And the more we begin to engage the body and create a firmer structure, the more challenging the posture will feel. Deep breath in. Exhale. Bend your right knee a little more. Full breath in. Exhale. And deep breath in. Exhale. Hands to your hips. Straighten through your right leg. As you straighten through your right leg, keep the left hip drawing forward. Inhale. Exhale, lean forward, either hands to the ground or to blocks. Fold over your right leg. Draw your right hip back. As you draw your right hip back, press your left heel to the ground. Raise your blocks up to a height. Remember, simplify. where your shoulders can remain over the wrists without overexerting or stretching. Flex your right foot. Curl your right toes back towards you. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Keep the right quad firming up. Inhale. Exhale. And deep breath in. Exhale. Gently bend into your right knee. Step your left foot forward. Step your right foot back. Put a little bend in your right knee. Lift the chest up. Hands to the hips. With our hands on our hips, left hip back and in. Right hip draws forward. Pelvis tilts forward and up. Lift the chest. Lengthen the spine. And then from here, reach your arms back up towards the ceiling again. Bend into your left knee. Hold. And again, it's not about holding a posture longer than anybody else or anything like that. That's comparativeness. That only complicates things. All we're doing today is demonstrating how just doing the simplest of postures in yoga can be challenging, can incite mental fluctuations and mind stuff. We work through that. We recognize what is there. When we recognize our tendencies, habits, and patterns, we can rehabituate and rehabit or create new habits that are more beneficial or simplify by letting go of the habit more often than not. Shoulder blades press against the back, triceps wrap forward, hands wide open, bend into your left knee a little bit more, right heel pressing back. Notice any subtle shaking in the posture. Know that that's part of the practice. Press your right heel back a little bit more. Draw your right thigh slightly forward. Find that push-pull sensation. Reach your arms up a little bit more. Bend into your left knee just a little more. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Take one more inhale, palms lightly touch. Exhale, release the hands down towards your blocks. Straighten through your left leg. As you straighten through the left leg, draw the left hip back, feel the left quad firm in, press your right heel down to the ground to feel the stretch through the right calf. Lengthen your spine. Henry David Thoreau said, "Our life is frittered away by detail. Simplify, simplify." As the right hip draws forward and the left hip draws back and in, continue to lengthen your spine as you fold. If this feels good, press down through your left heel, float the left toes up off the ground. And if it doesn't feel good, simplify, simplification, simplicity. And by feel good, I mean if it's creating more suffering for you in your practice, whether it's on the mat or off the mat, then consider making some changes. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. And full breath in. Exhale. Lower the left foot down, bend the left knee, step your right foot to the top of the mat, forward folds. Inhale, half lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold it in. Inhale, press to rise, reach upwards and our palms touch. Exhale, hands at the heart center. Now, if you have an intention for today, or for this week, or for this year, focus on that intention. Simplification. Please take a long, slow, deep breath in, fill lungs up, sip in a little more air, focus on that intention, whatever it is. Exhale, release the breath. Arms along the sides, the gaze is forward. Half sun salutations. Inhale, arms reaching up. Simplify each movement. Exhale, forward fold, hands, fingertips down to the ground. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold it in. Inhale, press to rise, reach upwards, palms touch. Exhale, hands to our hearts. Inhale, our arms reaching up, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold, hands, fingertips down to the ground. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press to rise, reach upwards, palms touch. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms reaching up, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold, hands, fingertips down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back into a plank position. Let's hold here. If you need to drop down to your knees at any point in time, drop down to your knees. Shoulders over wrists, biceps wrap forward, triceps wrap back, heels press back. Press down through the palms and fingertips. Feel the navel lifting towards the spine slightly. Simplicity. Now for this posture, I know this is a challenging posture. We're going to hold for a little bit. And for many, even though it is considered to be a simple posture, and I know and I recognize that simplicity can be very subjective too. You know, if you were to teach this to a 1-year-old or 2-year-old, this would be a very challenging posture. I totally get that, which is why Shavasana is one of the most valuable poses in the yoga practice. It's a posture everybody can do. Keep the biceps wrapping forward, triceps wrapping back. Let go of ego, shoulders over wrists, press into fingertips. Keep the hips elevated without lifting too high or dipping them down. Observe the sensations that are showing up in the body. If there's shakiness or tension building or heat building, if the breath is changing and starting to move erratically, simplify. Come back to the breath. Simplify even more by dropping to your knees if you need to. That's okay. This is the yoga practice today. To understand how we complicate things or simplify things on our yoga mats. Please take a deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower the knees, child's pose. Knees wide apart, crawl the hands forward, let the forehead come down to the ground. As you crawl the hands forward, the chest will eventually, in time as the body opens up, start to move towards the ground as well. Child's pose is an incredibly beneficial pose for the body. Helps to open up the shoulders, the chest, the inner groin, the back. And while there's many, many postures in the yoga practice, thousands, literally thousands of postures, do the ones that make sense for you, add the ones that help to create more balanced structure and support, remove the ones that are creating injury, pain, and excess stress that have you walking through life with that. Deep breath in. Exhale, letting it go. Deep breath in. Exhale, letting it go. With your next inhale, please lift your chest up. Walk the hands in. As you walk your hands in, let's sweep our feet off to the side. We'll take our legs out in front of us. Shake the legs out. Flex through the feet. On an inhale, our arms reach upwards. Exhale, seated forward fold, fold over the legs. Now, there's a difference between passive postures and active postures, and this is going to be an active posture today. So find your shoulder blades, press them against your back. It's a very subtle sensation. It'll feel like your chest is moving forward. Now flex your feet. As you flex your feet, press the backs of your legs down. Keep the shoulder blades pressing against the back. Now simultaneously start to spread through your collarbones. Full breath in. Exhaling. Deep breath in. Exhaling. Full breath in. Exhale. And sometimes we can simplify things. In fact, I had a talk with my girlfriend about this last night. Sometimes we can simplify things by not always needing to be right. To just let things be at rest. It's okay. That ego that gets in the way to want to always be right about certain things or to have an opinion about everything, sometimes it's best sometimes to even not express that opinion. If we feel it's going to hurt somebody or complicate things or be not be challenging, but can cause harm to others. It's a balance. Deep breath in. Exhale. And my teacher would say to me, well, see what happens. Try it a couple times and then don't try it a couple times and see which yields a better result for you. And what I found more often than not is by doing less, but in the things that I engage in, apply more of that energy and simplify, life all around continues to get better and more clear, more enjoyable, despite all the external things taking place. Inhale. Exhale. Keep folding. Deep breath in. Exhale. One more deep breath in. Exhale. All right, please come up. Shake the legs out on the inhale. And we're going to come into a quad opener. Some of us may need to use blocks, so if you have blocks, feel free to grab them. We're going to come sitting on our shins, Virasana, hero's pose, and place the buttocks between the ankles. You know, we did a lot of back body stretching today, and so to create balance in the body, we stretch the back side, but we also need to stretch the front side as well. So as we sit on the block, this may be enough sitting on a block for some folks. Sitting on the ground may also be enough. If you like to adjust and go a little deeper, let's go deeper. You can walk your hands back. You can lower the elbows down. If you're starting to feel pinching in your lower back, my loving suggestion would be to back off a little bit, simplify it. No need to create pain. Observe discomfort. Breathe into that discomfort, but if it becomes too painful or too uncomfortable, back out of it. Listen to your body. What we want to try to do is find our own personal edges of the physical body. Where is the tension held in the vessel body? The matter body, the physical body. We can come all the way down onto our backs if that's in your practice, or continue to stay upright. Reach the arms over the head. Reach your knees forward. Extend through the side waistline. Now this posture, for me, I've been doing this since I was a kid. And whenever you do something over and over and over again from a young age, it's going to seem a lot easier. So once again, it's important not to compare ourselves to others in our practice because we don't know what others have done to build that practice up. It serves us only to complicate life, to compare, rather than to simply acknowledge, accept, and allow. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Continue to maintain. Press the shins down. Observe the desires that may want to come out of the pose. Not quite yet, if you can. If you need to, please by all means do. Simplify. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale. Slowly, if you're on your back, start to make your way back up. Come up. Let's take our legs off to the side. Legs out in front of us. Shake the legs out one last time. And then make our way onto our backs. Bring both knees into your chest. Hug your knees in for a moment and try to lift your tailbone sacrum off the ground. keep the back of the head down. Full breath in. Exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale. Left leg long, right knee hugs in. Inhale. Exhale, twist across the body over to your left. Right arm goes out to the right, right palm face up. Take the right knee upwards towards the left shoulder, and as you turn your head to the right, lengthen your left leg, flex the left foot. Deep breath in. Exhale. Full breath in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhaling. Simplify. Inhale. Exhale. Simplify this moment by letting go of what's next. With your next inhale, bring your right knee back towards center. Bring your left knee towards center, right leg goes long. Flex the feet, inhale. Exhale, twist across the body over to your right side. Left arm goes out to the left, left shoulder down, left palm face up. Quality over quantity. Deep breath in. Exhaling. Deep breath in. Exhaling. Full breath in. Exhaling. Deep breath in. Exhaling. And one more time, deep breath in. Exhaling. Please bring your left knee back towards center. Bring your right knee towards center. Give yourself one final hug and a squeeze. Please take a deep breath in, fill lungs up, sip in a little more air, hug it all together into a tight ball. And on the exhale, release everything down towards the ground as you come into your final resting pose. Now let's simplify this pose as much as we can. Let go of all efforts in this moment. The effort of thinking, the effort of breathing, the effort of doing. Relax the head, the eyes, lips, mouth, jaw, tongue. Relax relax the neck and the throat and the shoulders. Relax your spine all the way down towards the ground, vertebrae by vertebrae. Relax the legs. Relax the hips, the arms, hands, feet. Simplicity. Let the simplicity of the moment be enough. And every so slowly start to move the fingers, toes, circle out the wrists and the ankles, roll the shoulders out, turn the head side to side, open and close the mouth. With a long, slow, deep breath in, please reach the arms up and over the head. Give yourself a long stretch, extending. And on the exhale, please release the arms down along the sides. Placing a gentle bend in your knees, please roll over to your left side. Use the right hand, press yourself up, and come into a comfortable seated position. As you come into a comfortable seated position, placing the left hand over the heart, right hand over the left, collarbones spread. As we move into the rest of our day today, consider simplifying. With this time at home, if there's some things that we can let go of and release, pack up, throw out. Let us maybe surrender these things and our attachments to them and let them go, only if it serves us. There is power and strength in simplicity. Please take a long, slow breath in. Exhale, let it go. We'll finish with an Om. Inhale. Inhale, fill lungs up. Exhale, bow the head down towards the hands. As you honor yourselves, your practices for showing up on your mats, as we honor our friends, families, loved ones, and supporters, in gratitude for the many blessings, gifts, abundance, and our health, and in gratitude to the many teachers and guides that came long before us who passed along these practices called yoga. Releasing the hands down, softly blinking the eyes open and lifting your chins.
Thank you so much, everybody, for practicing with me. I know today's practice was a little bit different. Again, the focus is on simplicity, and in simplicity, making things a little more simple for us, doing less versus more, and seeing what comes from that. Please check in throughout the day. We'd love to know how you feel. If you need anything at all, please reach out. Have a beautiful one, friends. Ho'oponopono. Aho. Namaste.